Welcome future Dungeon Divers, DMs, and Dungeon Divers. Today it's going to be a beginner's guide to saving throws, initiative, and armor class, and a refresher for the rest of us. So, come on in and sit for a spell. I'm Jimmy Lee, and this is Ability Check. Roll it! Remember, D&D is a game that's put out by Wizards of the Coast. And also remember, all the rules I'm going to bring to you are from the basic rules, which you can find on the Wizards of the Coast website. Also, you can download it for free to your phone, to your laptop, to your PC, whichever you want to. I have a link below. Also, the rules come from the player's handbook. Oh, look at this. Okay, the sun's out. Everything's going good. Unfortunately, this is probably going to be the last one for a while outside because the smoke's coming back. Yes, I'm in California. But anyway, one of the things we did this weekend is that my family and I went to a U-Pick farm, came back with 250 pounds of produce. You'd think that's a lot, but we do a lot of canning and all that stuff like this. And then my daughter, Marcia, found a 40-pound winter squash. Wow. You carrying it? Jesus.
Somebody say this for me before my arms fall. Yeah, she's carrying it. Or open something.
So, yeah, we'll lay it up there.
I need a shower.
Yeah, I'm nasty. Do we want to, here, let's do this. Put it
to
down. Okay. I'm going to put those in.
Gross things, but every pumpkin and stuff.
Yeah. You want to put yours in too?
Take a picture really quick. Beautiful. Too bad we didn't get that for your TikTok.
I know. Wow. It's okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's hope.
Who picked that and then put it back?
We took it. Yeah, that was fun. And just remember, everybody in this video is actually over 13. Okay, I know my youngest daughter is peeking around the seat because she got tired. But anyway, so let's get to what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to talk about is saving throws. And if you look at page 65 in the basic rules and page 179 in the player's handbook, you'll find what we're talking about on saving throws. Now, saving throws basically mean that you're resisting either traps, diseases, poisons, spells, or something similar to that. Right? But also remember that saving throws are actually a forced roll. That means that you have no choice in it. This is not one of the things that you choose. You have to make a saving throw. So one of the things that you need to remember is that the saving throws are actually aligned with 6 abilities: strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Now, yes, you can make all those saving throws, but you as a player are proficient in 2 of them. That means you can add your proficiency bonus. And how do you get that? You get it from the class. When you look up under the class and you're rolling up your character and you look at it, it's going to say saving throws and it'll give you 2, such as fighter, which is strength and con. So that means that you can add your proficiency bonus to it. So when you make a saving throw, you roll with 20-sided dice, add the ability modifier. So if, say, you're making a dex saving throw, you add your dex ability modifier plus your proficiency bonus. If you're not proficient in it, it's just your dex modifier. All right. Here's another thing that you have to realize too, is that all saving throws are made against a DC or a difficulty class. Different types of poisons have different DCs. Traps have DCs. Spells that are thrown at, especially area of effect spells, and not all of them, but a lot of the area of effect spells are the ones that have the DC. Some of the other spells do too, but anyway, the DC is determined on that is by your opponent who's actually throwing the spell against you, or like if you're a spellcaster and you're doing it, your DC save is actually going to be what they have. Your opponent needs to roll. Remember, if you make your DC, a lot of them either you take half damage or no damage, depending on the spell that's casted at you. All right, how can you increase your saving throws? Well, there's a possibility, but remember the ones you're proficient in, as you go up in levels, your proficiency bonus is going to get bigger. So say that's one way, especially your proficiency. But the other ones, they usually stay the same unless you actually increase that ability, which you can at certain levels, but that's beside the point. What it is, another way you can increase it is by magic, such as items, rings, cloaks, things like that. And if you're just so lucky to have at least a 6th level paladin in your group, and you're within 10 feet of him, his Aura of Protection is going to be out. And when you make a saving throw, you get to add his charisma modifier to your saving throws. So good luck with that one. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is initiative. You're going to find it in the Player's Handbook on 177 and 189. And in the basic rules, it's going to be on 62 and page 74. No, take that back. It's going to be on 64 and page 72. Sorry, I got them mixed up. But basically what initiative is you use it during combat. It will actually tell you what order you're going to go in. And basically it's a dexterity check. That's all it is. What you do is you roll a 20-sided dice and you add your dexterity modifier to it, if you have one. Like I said, it will actually tell you what order you're coming in. Now, here's something else that you need to know, is that if you or one of your the players in your party roll the same score, say you both roll and add your modifiers and you roll a 12, then the party decides who's going to go first in the order. Like I said, the party, not just you and the other your other player, but the whole party can decide who's going to go, who goes first, which is a good thing, probably because you might want your spellcaster to go before your fighter, or maybe the other way around. It depends on tactics, and that's what your party needs to determine. But another one is your opponents. Your DM rolls for them. Now, if one of those or two of them come up with the same initiative, then he determines who goes first. Now, if you and an opponent come up with the same, then the DM decides who's going to go first. Usually it's going to be the player, but it's still determined by the DM. Now, how do you increase your initiative? Well, there's feats that can do it, and we'll get into feats later. But also, let me see. Oh, Bard. A Bard has a thing called Jack of all trades. As soon as he can do it 2nd level, they're able to add half the proficiency to it, to their initiative. 7th level fighters, champion, can add half of their proficiency to initiative. And there's other things too. Also, there's certain things that's around and stuff like this that can determine if you have advantage or not on your initiative. But that's up to the DM. But that's the way that one works. Like I said, it tells you what order in the combat that you can actually react, or not react, but actually have an action in. Remember, a reaction can happen anytime in that turn, but an action can only happen in your turn in that round. Okay, third and last, we're going to talk about armor class, or AC. Now, if you look at page 14 in the Player's Handbook, and I think it's page 11 in the basic rules, it basically tells you what armor class is. And armor class is that your ability to avoid being wounded or hurt during combat. Then you have to go to page 144 and 145 in the Player's Handbook, and page 46 and 47 in the basic rules, and they will actually have armor there. Okay. Now, to determine who can wear armor and who can't, it depends on class. If you have no armor, basically your armor class goes off your dex, so it will be 10 plus your dexterity modifier. So if your dexterity modifier is a 2, your armor class is 12. Now remember, another thing too is that if you're a fighter or one of these others, your class actually determines whether you can wear armor or what type of armor. And the 3 different types of armor is light, medium, and heavy. All right, you have to be proficient in each of those armors to actually wear them. So for a rogue, it will be light armor. For a fighter, they can wear all armor. Barbarians, it's light and medium. Okay, another thing, there's some that don't wear armor but do have an armor class that's not just that. A barbarian can use his unarmored defense. It's his 10 plus his con plus his dex plus a shield if he wants to use one. So that would be his armor class. Now, a monk also has an unarmored defense, which is 10, not 10, yeah, it's 10 plus his dex plus his wisdom, no shield. Can't use shields, so that's what that is. Now, some people are sitting there and goes, well, I'm going to bring 2 things up that I've noticed so far, and I've seen it on Reddit too, and it just, I do face palms on this one. Armor class is a 1 calculation. You cannot combine calculations. If you're wearing armor and a shield, you only add, or it depends on the actual armor, whether you can add your dexterity modifier or how much of it is you can add, depends on the actual type of armor you're wearing, and it will actually tell you in the description that there, like I said, those pages I told you before have a chart in there about what is light armor, what is medium armor, what is heavy armor, and that's in there, so you can add that together. Now, you can't add anything else to it. That just doesn't work unless it's done by magic. Say like a ring of protection or a cloak of protection, yes, you can add those to it, but that's about it. You can't add anything else into it. Now, barbarians, if they're doing unarmed defense and you decide that you want to multi-class and take some monk in it, you cannot add those together. You have to use whichever one. You use one or the other. It is a calculation. Okay? Here's another thing I'm seeing. Just because you're proficient in that type of armor does not mean that you can add your proficiency modifier. Don't do that. All right? That is not what that's not the way you fix it. If you look in the rules, it basically tells you what your calculation for wearing armor. So anyway, that's it. I hope you had a good time in this one. I hope what I brought to you, if you find this is useful, subscribe, like, and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. And remember, be safe, play safe. I'm Jimmy Lee. This is Ability Check. Roll it.